Welcome, everyone. It's great to be back for episode 4. I'm Jodie Fielden and I'm joined with my work wife, bestie, and business partner, Adri Varga. During these podcasts, we share how you can turn challenges into opportunities, overcome obstacles, and discover practical strategies to create your success. So, today's topic is part 2 of the biggest lessons we've learned while running and growing our businesses.
Yes, absolutely. Hello, everyone, and I'm so excited for this episode. So, today we are going to continue our chat about the key insights we learned along our journey and some key things we wish we knew when we started.
Yeah, we had some great ones in our last episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing what more we both have. So, let's just jump straight into it. What's next on your list, Adri?
So, the next on my list is my business is only as good as my team is. So, I think it's very important. That was a really important learning for me because in the beginning, I was focusing on getting more and more clients into the business. Like I just wanted more clients, and I thought, like if I'm going to have more clients, my business, my salon is going to be absolutely perfect. And, like that's going to solve all my problems. And actually, like the next step, it was clients were coming to the business, but then it was like a gap missing. It was a gap, like it was a bridge missing because my team, like I didn't have time to implement things with my team. So everyone did basically what they thought it was the best what they could do or what I was expecting from them. And that it was a little bit of a disconnection. So I learned, like my business is going to be only as good as my team is. So then I have to put my focus into training my team, putting systems down so they can understand and they know exactly what to do and not to expect them to figuring out by themselves or on their own.
Yeah, that's a good one. My one is actually a carry on of that one. It was about when trying to motivate my team and getting them to do like hit their KPIs and be excited too. I always used to think it was like the bigger the bonus or you know um, that's more important to them. So I just would offer these really big bonuses. Then I realized it's not everyone's motivated by money. Some people
Hmm.
are motivated by different things, and the only way to really know is to take that deep dive and find out instead of just trying to guess.
Yes, absolutely. And the only way you can find out really what motivates your team is comes back to communication. We already
Hmm.
mentioned communication in our last
Yeah.
episode, and that's very true. I learned the same thing, because I'm very motivated by money, but then I have
Hmm.
different layers underneath that motivation. Like money is not everything for me, but obviously is very motivational, but I know, like safe environment, good working environment, training, like nurturing environment can be just as important as, money in for someone, like as a motivation. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's you have to be flexible, I think, and it can change, can't it? What worked this month may not be working next month. So yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be getting
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah. 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 Shall we go to my next one?
Yep. Let's
Yeah.
see what have you got.
My next one is involving my team in decisions, and I'm not alone in my own business. So I think that was a really big learning. It actually was a huge relief when I realized that I actually have, like many different components in my business, like and like everyone has their strength in your business, and obviously everyone will have their weaknesses. So I have my own strengths and I have my weaknesses, and what I'm teaching is basically, like you always employ people for your weaknesses. Like wherever you weak at, you try to find people who are strong in that area. And like once I started to do the team meetings properly, and I started to involve my team in many business decisions. This is when we started to create a culture. And this is when we created a culture point together, like we had to I not had to, but I encouraged, like ourselves to find values which are values for all of us, like it just represents us. And then we created our salon culture, which was really good. And this is when I started to feel that it's, like it's actually having a business once you involve your team is not as difficult anymore and is not as lonely anymore, because I think probably you were in the same shoes before, like when you don't do that, you feel like having a business, having a salon, it's a lonely journey, and you feel you are by yourself, you are alone, and it can be quite, I don't know, sometimes can be quite overwhelming also. So yeah, that was my big learning, to involve my team in business decisions.
So my one is a little bit controversial again, and it's along the same lines as what I was saying in our last episode. Um, your team is not your friend.
Mm,
Uh, a lot of times we lose that boundary between
mm,
the employer and the employee. And I
mm,
think sometimes it can get lost in the gray area. Again, it's the it's just the general rule, and there's always an exception to the rule. But I always found that once that line is crossed, it's very hard to uncross it, especially when things happen in the business that it can become really difficult to come back from. You know, I thought you were my friend, and
mm,
sometimes we overinvest ourselves
mhm,
and we get too involved with their personal life. And that's not to say that we shouldn't be empathetic, sympathetic, caring, supportive, nurturing, offer all the support we can. But sometimes we have to remember we can't help someone any more than
mm,
what we already have. Otherwise, it becomes detrimental to ourselves and our business. And I think sometimes that's a really hard line to manage. So
mm,
yeah, it's always that little bit of a gray area, but at the end of the day, your team members will end up doing what's best for them,
yeah.
and you need to do what's best for you, whilst taking into consideration what's the implications and the repercussions for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree. And I can actually, like bring up an example when you had your salon and I started to rent a chair. You had this really, really lovely girl, very young girl working for you. Do you want to tell a little bit more about her?
Yeah, look, I always was, in my younger life, I had a lot of people step in and help me and care for me and went above and beyond what they needed to in their role.
Mhm,
And so I always felt that need to pay it back. So to always like return that and pay it into the universe. And so I had this girl come and work for me, and she worked for me for a number of years, and I became more of a mother figure to her because she didn't have that in her life. And I would find myself making excuses for her. I think there was even one night I got a phone call in the middle of the night, with her in hysterics, wanting to end her life. A trigger warning here, people.
mhm,
If you need to not listen, please
mhm,
just skip this little bit. And so I went rushing out, and went over to her place, help her pack up her unit, and did all these things above and beyond. And then a couple of days later, she just stopped showing up for work, and she was, there was all these things that were happening, and I couldn't understand. Like, I'm doing everything to help you, like, help yourself,
mhm,
help me. You're not reciprocating this. And so that
mhm,
line for me became very blurred, and it
mhm,
ended up getting to the point where I had to step back and really evaluate, am I actually helping, or am
mhm.
I enabling? And
Yeah.
what's that implications on my family? So
And it
yeah,
wasn't, sorry,
no,
go for
you're
it.
right. Go.
Yeah, and what I wanted to say, it wasn't just only your family, but it was really the whole environment in your salon. Because I remember, like she sometimes came, and like she had all this life trouble with her, and like we really wanted to help her, and like you naturally such a nurturing person, so like it was really like for you it's just second nature to step in if anyone needs help, like I'm a little bit different because I would sort of, like put a little bit more logic behind, but you are naturally that mother type, like that motherly nature, which is, like you never, you first you act and, like you really want to help that person. But what I can remember renting a chair over there, that it become to that point when it was disturbing for the environment. She came, and she was crying, and then, like she was hysterical. I remember, like by that time I moved up above the salon, and you moved out from the unit above. And I remember, like we had to grab her and we had to push her into my kitchen because, clients were listening, and clients were, like it
I'd
was
forgotten about
just
that.
something
Yeah.
which was terrible, for the business. And this is when I remember, like we were having a chat, and like I was telling to you, like we need to do something about this, because, like as much as we
Couldn't be
want to help
happening.
her, like we helped her, and then she went back to the same pattern all the time. And I think
Mhm.
you are absolutely right, and probably that helped you to make these learnings, and
That was a
and
big
as you,
learning for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
and as you mentioned, like it doesn't mean that we are not caring and we don't want the best for them. It is just that fine line when you are not stepping over to the bestie or my friends, because then it's going to be management is going to be very difficult, because it's going to become emotional instead of practical and logical. This is what I think.
Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, a business is a business. And
Yeah,
this is your livelihood. This is,
yeah,
you know, how you're supporting your family. And you're also supporting, and I said this before, you're not only supporting your family, you're supporting the people that you employ, their family. It's their
yeah,
livelihood as well. And you need to take that into consideration about everyone else that it's being affected, because I until you said the hysterical part, I was like, oh yeah, that didn't just happen once. That happened a multiple of times.
yeah,
You know, it started off with a little breakdown with her oversharing with clients, and then trying to explain to her you can't overshare with clients, and it just became this rolling. It starts off small. It's not when it's one big thing all of a sudden, it's a bit different. But as it slowly grows, you kind of become accustomed to it and stop noticing how much it's affecting everyone else. And yeah, it's really hard to then remove yourself and draw that line. And then you're
yeah,
really hurt by the outcome. They're hurt by the
mhm,
outcome, and you're worried about the repercussions for clients and what's going to be said, because you need to, like, the fact of it is that it's going to be spoken about from clients, because
absolutely.
clients see and hear everything, you know,
Yeah,
both
yeah,
in a studio and a salon. There's mirrors everywhere. There's
yeah,
ears that are listening to everything that's said. So
yeah.
they hear
And
about
they
it.
can and they can sense, they can sense if your team is stressed. I remember, like with my Pilates studio, like example, like I used to go to a Pilates studio when I used to live in Sydney, and I really loved because I could see, like the whole team was like a team, and like the girls, they were really nurturing each other and they were really good together. And I could like I loved all the girls. And then I moved where I live now, and I was struggling to finding a good Pilates studio. And I remember, like I had one experience in one studio when I could feel and sense that that Pilates teacher, like that trainer, she was really, really not focused under stress. Like I don't know why, obviously, but the energy just was not good. So I thought, all right, everyone has a bad day, like once. So I went back another time, same teacher, same experience, and I never returned, because it's very important, like when you go there for, to reward yourself with a good exercise, and like you just want to feel good. And obviously, like something what we as business owners, we need to understand, like body language, tone of voice and everything else. Like clients, they subconsciously listen to absolutely everything, and they see the body language and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really important. All right, what's next in yours?
We're still staying with team. It's so funny, like
Oh, this is the
so
team theme.
yeah, this is a team theme. So my next one is success is teamwork. So this is something when um I realized, like after a while when we really started to work together really well with my team, like I actually realized, like I can have the best goals and I can have the best drive in my business. But if my team is not on board, then I'm never going to succeed. It's never going to happen because it's all teamwork, and also how selective I need to be when I select new team members to come into this environment, and also how smart you need to be to what to be watchful. And like if you um, start to see things which are not right, you really really need to address those things right away, because if you don't, then it's going to accelerate to the next level. And that's one day you're going to go to your studio or go to your salon, and then two team members is going to fight over something what you weren't aware of at all. So I always think like success is a teamwork. It's nothing to do, like you can't make a successful business by yourself as a business owner. You actually need to have a really great team behind. But to have a great team behind, you have to put a lot of effort into managing that team, and management is something which is very important.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, management will break or make the business. It's one of those three things that can really break or make the business. And that leads me into my next point, which is clear role progression. Having something for your team to work towards. And even if you don't have a team, for your own self,
Mhm.
having these uh, milestones that you call it, but career milestones, like what do I want to achieve for myself?
Mhm.
And I think that is really important for, if you do have team, is that they need to see something that they've got to look forward to. And so, yeah, being able to work towards something instead of just coming to work.
Yeah, and I can confirm that, like many salons I'm working together on one-on-one basis, like they are actually started to implement this. So different stepping stones in the business, so their team can work towards to growth. And there is very very defined lines what they need to achieve or what they need to hit as a target in order to to move to the next level. And I think it's very important, because if you just think about hairdressing, beauty, or like pilates or yoga, like there is always motivational, there is always motivating people when they can see there is a progress. Because many times happens team members, they leave businesses because they don't see themselves to grow, they don't see any room for growth. And this is when we need to be smart, even if we believe like there is no way I can like I can help my team to grow. It is not true. We always can come up with something like different levels, even if it's just like two or three levels. But then like it's still something what they can working towards to.
Yeah, and it doesn't always have to be, like within that role. It could be something towards their future, like very few people are going to stay with you for 20 years. It's not the same
Totally
way
not.
as it used to be. So I don't think we need to be fearful about what they're going to do next. And I feel like if an employee feels valued by you, and they're still learning things for you, like within their life. I remember with one of your team members, you ended up helping him with budgeting and stuff,
Yeah.
like it was giving him something to work towards. So
Yeah.
I want to stay here because I'm getting something out of this, and I'm getting that personal growth, personal development, or um, the industry development. So, I think it's a win-win. And we do sometimes have to be careful about where we put that investment and who we put that investment in. It doesn't
Yes.
mean that, you just do it willy nilly. You have to make sure you're choosing the right people to come into your
Yeah.
business as well.
Yeah. And then also needs to be a clarity around it, like, and you need to be very, very, like, you need to follow your own rules, yeah. Because when you have these stepping stones set up in your business, then everyone needs to do the same things in order to go to the next level. Because like not long ago, it was one of my business owner I'm working closely on one. She was sort of wondering, like, oh, it's time for some of the girls, they are with me for such a long time now to move on to the next level. But when we were reviewing the performance, none of them was reaching really the goal what they need to reach. Some of them were very, very close, and then some of them they were quite far. And this is, like when I suggested to the salon owner, like, you need to be careful, because if you move these girls up because they are with you for quite long time, then you're going to actually destroy the whole system what you actually put it in place. So like, you need to make sure, like, if you have some targets, you actually going to follow your own rules. Otherwise you're going to confuse everyone, and then like, this whole thing what we just built for you is just going to go out of the window. And this is when she felt really, really good about it, because she said, oh my god, I felt a little bit of a pressure because of the time. And like, you have this system set, because if they don't reach it, then they won't move one level up. So yeah.
Yeah. And again, that brings it back to, you need to measure everything, not just
Yeah.
how much money is coming in and out. You've got to measure everything in your business, don't you?
Yeah, and the performance, like each team member's performance, and you need to review it. And it comes back to really one-on-one meetings, and also, like the quarterly performance review. And I think that's very, very important also. Yeah.
Yeah. The next one leading on for that for me was team meetings. You know,
Yeah.
it's very different to back when we were working for people. I remember we used to have just we always had the weekly big group team meeting, but it always seemed to be about what everyone was doing wrong. And so
Yeah.
you'd go in
Yeah.
thinking, what are they going to say
Yeah.
today? And I think, yeah, the tone of meetings and how you hold them,
Yeah.
and what you do within those meetings are really important.
Yeah. And my next learning is ties into this one, because like, I learned the big difference between boss and leader. So like, long time ago, really, like, most of the business owners, they were bosses, and that time it worked really well. Management, it was more like, I'm telling you what to do, and you're going to do it, and you need to think for yourself, and all the above, like we already mentioned. But like, these days, everything is elevated. So your business needs to be elevated also, and you need to be elevated. And being the big difference between being a boss and being a leader: bosses are telling you what to do, and it's always they looking at what's in for them, in like, whatever they ask, anything is always like thinking about self. And when it comes to leaders are showing you, teaching you, motivate you, mentoring you. And then it's for a leader, it's all about team, leading by example, leading my team. So that's a huge difference. Being a leader so much more difficult than being a boss. But on the long run, like, if you learn to become a really good leader, you're going to have a flourishing business where people are going to knock on your door because they want to work for you. Because believe me,
And
like, once you are a great leader, once you create a great um culture, what will happen, like, word's going to get out. And all those trainers for studio owners, or all those hairdressers, beauticians, they will know exactly where they want to work. And I think that's very, very important. we started to see the difference and the movement, like many business owners, they actually started to see how important is to learn leadership. And this is why leadership courses are quite popular right now. And I'm really happy to see, because like with every business owners, like when they change, the whole industry is going to change. And I think this is what we need to change the industry. We need to change our mindset about how we running business in both of our industry, wellness and hair and beauty, because I think that's the key to success.
Yeah, look, the industries have changed dramatically, even in the last 5 years. And what's been a big part about it is that people don't want to work for anyone that makes them feel bad about themselves. And now there's this, and you'll see it on social media, there's this, trend and TikTok. I call it the TikTok. It's not, it's showing my age now. um, where they're like recording how their boss is speaking to them, and then they're just saying, then they're firing their boss, like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it becomes this massive big culture, which is then that mindset within the generation of coming through is that they would rather not work than work for
mhm,
someone that treats them badly. um, and
yeah.
and it's like the economy, like the tides have turned, and now we have to make sure that we're the best that we can be to attract the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, and what I learned also, which is connected to this subject, is like, if I'm not happy with my team, if I'm frustrated about my team, this is when I need to step back and I need to say, all right, what am I doing here, and why am I creating this environment? Because your team is going to mirror you. And my next learning is, like, we teach people how to treat us. So basically, like how we act, how we behave, this is exactly how our team going to mirror us. Because if we allow ourselves, to be unreasonable, to yell at the team members, or if we allow ourselves to come to the business and we have a shitty day and we show that, we don't leave that behind the door, they will think, like, that's the standard. That's absolutely fine. Like, if Adri can do that, I can do that too. So I think this is something what we really need to understand. Again, it all comes back to us. So we teach our team how to behave, and also we need to set those boundaries. And once we set those boundaries, we actually going to follow up to the dot. So you can't just get your team members to get away sometimes, and sometimes you're just going to, have the meeting about it. It's exactly the same, like, when you're training a puppy, or when you have kids and you teach the kids, it's exactly the same. Like, if you tell to the puppy not to jump on the couch, 10 times, and then 2 times you let the puppy to jump on the couch, then the puppy is going to get really confused, and then it just said, I could jump twice, so I just keep trying it, and hopefully she's going to get tired of it, and she's just going to give up on it. So your team is always going to test your boundaries. So it's your job to actually set those boundaries tight and make sure they're going to stay there.
Yeah, look, it's and that is a really big one, like the universe in life, what you project
Mhm.
is what you get back. So if
Yes.
you're not projecting the right things, then you're not going to receive. And that's the same with your team, your business, your personal life, your team, everything, which is actually brings it. Our learnings are really similar, which is funny to see.
Yeah.
Which was about respecting boundaries. So
Yeah.
respecting your team's boundaries and also respecting your own boundaries,
Mhm.
and learning how to communicate those boundaries effectively. I see a lot of in the industry at the moment, where they're firing clients,
Yeah.
because the clients aren't respecting their boundaries. But
Mhm.
they need to have a look at, how am I setting those boundaries? Am I,
Mhm.
communicating it? And I know it's through frustration of years of feeling like they're being taken advantage of, or working for employers that don't respect their boundaries. And then say if a client's late, they're expected to be the one to like catch it up, and all this you know resentment within the industry towards our clients,
Mm,
or our staff, has built up. And we really need to pull that apart and take a good look at why is it happening and what can we do to
yeah,
fix it, instead of jumping on that mob trend of just saying, I'm going to fire my client. By
yeah,
all means, do
yeah.
not. If you're saying I need to fire my client, it means you're attracting the wrong type of client for who you want to work with.
Yeah, and also, like you need to look into again yourself. Why am I attracting those clients who are, they are disrespectful, they don't
Reflections.
show, and all those things. So, like what is my part in that? Like how am I running my business? Like what kind of environment I'm creating? Because we attract exactly the same as team members, we attract the clients who mirroring us, who are mirroring
Mhm.
us. And like
And
if
that's
you have new
confronting.
it is. It is absolutely confronting. It's absolutely confronting. But I know I experienced the same. And like I worked in different salons, and I know it was different environments. Some salons were like in some salons I was very lucky because we were really, really working well together, and then the clientele were showing that. And I used to work in a quiet beachy salon, like where I didn't last it long because I don't like gossiping and I don't like beachiness. But I actually experienced firsthand that those clients were very, very difficult to deal with. And the mindset was exactly the same. So the clients mirrored the team members mirrored the salon. And, like exactly what we need to be careful, like is it really always the client's fault, or we are just not really good at taking feedback from the clients because our ego, or because we don't know how to respond or how to react? Reacting is actually, you don't really want to react, you want to learn to be responsive. And like this is when it's going to come back, like asking for feedbacks and everything else. But again, that's like a certain level, when you get in a certain level in your business. So I can see this trend, and anytime when I see anything like this popping up in Facebook groups, like I feel a really bit bad about it, because obviously it's very difficult to explain for business owners who are, like in that environment, and they are feeling, like the clients are terrible to them, and like um, they are doing everything what they can, and they still don't get any respect from the clients. It's hard. So normally, like I don't even get in there, because first you need to have your awareness of, like I might have a part in this, and then you can change things. But when people don't have the awareness, and the problem is, like once a conversation like this starts, there is almost like a ganging up against clients, and then those business owners, like they're supporting each others in this idea, like they are terrible clients out there, they are disrespectful, and all those things. And also, I wanted to say, like, I don't mean that you don't get those one or two clients who are really not nice clients. But this is when you're going to have your boundaries. This is when you're going to have your systems around it. And, like, you're going to take the feedback, and obviously, like, you're going to make sure that, you're going to handle the situation really well. And if your business is on a higher level or higher vibration, like those clients going to come and go, because they can't live in an environment. So if they come with that mindset, if your mindset and vibration is much, much higher, those clients, they don't feel good in that environment. So like they can be the bitchiest clients, but if you respond with kindness and being nice, they don't know how to respond to that, because they are expecting you to mirror them, they are expecting you to be bitchy or whatever, so they can actually like continue
They
the
feed
pressure
off
on
it.
you. Yeah, the pressure on you. So it's all
Mm.
comes back, like again, to taking our part, stepping back, like where I am and why am I attracting these clients and how can I
Yeah.
change that? Awareness is
Yeah.
the first thing.
Yeah. And I think, you know, awareness is the first step. And then the second step is saying, what can I do to fix it and how can I
Yeah.
change it, instead of, you know, just focusing on that problem, is to like, okay, let's try and find a solution and being open
Yeah.
to the solution. I know there's a lot of people out there that are looking for it, but they're not actually open to it because sometimes it can be a big ego thing. Like, it's a big hit to the ego. There's no way when I had the salon I would have ever accepted that I was the problem.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah. Yeah.
it took
Yeah.
it took years, and you know, working alongside you for a lot of it, to turn around and go, ah, now I see it. And
Yeah.
I I really wish that was something that I had have been more aware of back in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, but you see, like we do our learning in our own time also, and also, like you eventually, like you were open to the idea, and like you wanted to step back, and you had your realization. So sometimes people are so close, like they are in denial, or they blaming people, or like they are constantly finding excuses. So like we call this like below the line, like with the
Hmm.
thinking, because they are different ways of thinking about. And this is when it's difficult, when you need to go through your own journey, you wanting to change things, you wanting to find out, like what you can do better, how you can move out from the situation. But as long as you are comfortable, clapping your head in the mud, sitting in the mud and complaining about that you are in the mud, then is nothing going to happen. Yeah. So
No,
eventually
there's nothing.
you,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's nothing that's going to change until you want it to change. Like, really
yeah,
want it to
absolutely.
change. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
that brings us to the little bell's gone off telling us that that's
Yeah.
the end of our session today. That went really
Yeah.
fast. It was a lot of fun.
I know it was an amazing fun, and I just love sharing our learning, and it just brings back so many
Mhm.
memories. And I'm really hoping, or hope is not a strategy, but I'm
Hope is
really
not a
hoping,
strategy.
I'm really hoping, guys, you
I'm putting it out
enjoying.
to the universe. I'm
Yes,
putting it out.
yes. Yes, absolutely. But really, like I'm hoping that you guys enjoy it as much as we do, and we give you some things, food for thought, and you think about things. And please, feel free to contact us. Like if you have any questions, you can actually send questions to us. I think it's through our website,
Yep,
and
there's
you
a
can
link
send
in the
us the
website.
yeah, you can send us questions, and we are more than happy to actually create an episode around, like your questions, and we are more than happy to answer those ones too. But I think this is
Yeah,
it for today. We are looking
this is
forward
it.
seeing you next time, and just our
Yep, next
usual close off.
Thursday.
Yeah,
Next Thursday, 9:30 Sydney time. If you'd like to get started and sort of have a deeper look into your persona as a salon owner, our quiz, the link is there on the screen below. Jump on through at focusgdt.com. You will also find links to our upcoming workshops and training. And there is you'll find when you click the link, there'll be one for salon owners and one for wellness business owners. And we hope to see you there. When you take the quiz, you'll also receive a personalized report. Adri has put these together based upon the answers that you give throughout the quiz, and you'll receive that report and a video going over and explaining that report to you.
yeah, and absolutely. And that report is going to show your strength and your weaknesses as a business persona, and is going to give you some guidance, like what should be your next step in order, to improve. So it's a really, really good one, very exciting. And yeah, if you want to figure it out, if you want to find out, just take the quiz. And also, just one more thing, if you would like to follow us on Instagram or Facebook, our handle is at Focus GDT, and we are more than happy. Like when you are following us, we are creating really good contents, and we are building a community. So I think to become a part of our Facebook group, it's actually quite valuable also.
Yeah. Once you take the quiz or register for one of our workshops, there'll be a link for you to join our private Facebook group with the business owners that we've worked with and have been a part of our community for a while now. All right. Well,
Yeah,
we'll say goodbye. Have a fantastic day.
absolutely. Enjoy your rest of your day, and we will see you very soon. Bye for now.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.